Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. It's been a while since I did the initial video on the Harbor Freight tarp. Finally got a chance to put it up in the rain. Ended up being up in the rain for about 36 hours, so maybe a little over. I'm not going to talk too much about that. I've got some video clips here that I'm going to roll in here in just a second. Over the couple of days that I had it set up, I did have one issue. I was experimenting with the poles again. I had one end that I just pulled the line straight off of the whipping and staked it out, and then the other end I did like I did in the original video and looped it over top, which ended up causing a failure. Not a complete and total failure, but still a failure nonetheless. So I'm not going to get too much into all that. I'll let you watch the video. But after it's over with, I'll come back and we'll talk a little more. Hello everyone. Welcome back to the channel. I told you I was going to do a follow-up on the Harbor Freight canvas tarp. It is July the 27th at about 9 o'clock p.m. and I've come out here and put this thing up. And the reason I've put it up is because starting tomorrow, Sunday the 28th, it's supposed to start raining, and it's calling for rain off and on and thunderstorms tomorrow afternoon all the way through Tuesday morning. So I've put this thing up. I put it up in this configuration because I wanted a little more height so that'd make it a little easier to get in. I've got it set up to where it's 6 foot from end to end, and then 8 foot this way. The reason I've kind of got it set up at this angle is because the weather is supposed to be coming from the south to the southwest, which means, hang on a second, let me get it pulled up here. That way south, and that way is kind of southwest. That way I've got it set up in the way that the rain will be coming and the wind will be coming toward that one side. So this is going to take a couple of days to do, but we're going to set it up and leave it up from now until Tuesday afternoon, and then I'll take it down Tuesday. I'll get inside of it and see what it looks like from the inside, as well as checking it from the ground and all that stuff, and see how wet it got inside. I'm sure I will probably get just a little bit of moisture in from wind whipping around the ends, but that's to be expected when you use an open end tarp. Now, just to give you an idea, I'm 5'10". Oh, this thing is set up to where it's 6 foot long. And if I get in here and lay at an angle, I've got enough room that I can stretch out and be completely covered under this thing and have room to put gear in if I had to. So we'll see what happens. We'll see how well it does after 2.5 days of rain. According to the weather from LEX 18, once the rain stops, it's supposed to continue in some form or the other until about noon or so on Tuesday. So we'll see what happens. I'll be back with you on Tuesday. Well, I believe it's getting tested very well today. I had it good and tight. It's stretched a little since it's gotten wet, but that's to be expected with canvas. I'm gonna see when it eases up a little bit and go out there and check inside of it. All right, it's eased up for the moment. Let's go out here and see what this thing looks like inside. Okay, sorry about that. I gotta get back up in here. The inside of the tarp is dry, and it's been raining off and on for, I guess about 2.5 hours now. Now, granted, where there's no front and no back in it, it's wet into about right there where the water's and the rain's been blown in. Let's see about the back side. Same thing on the back side. About a foot in, it's wet. So as of right now, it's doing good. The inside of the canvas is still dry. So we'll see what happens. I'm gonna leave it out here for a couple of days, because it's supposed to rain off and on all day today, tomorrow, and then quit sometime Tuesday. So we'll check back on it. All right. It's been Saturday night, Sunday night, halfway through the day on Monday, so 36 hours since I put this up. It's got a lot of rain on it in that 36 hours. I was going to leave it up through tonight and take it down tomorrow, but things have changed. They are now calling for us to have severe thunderstorms with damaging winds, possible hail and torrential rains, even the chance for an isolated tornado. So I'm not going to leave this out. I don't want to leave it up and then see it get shredded before I ever really get to put much use on it, but that'll be for another time. I did experiment with the tent poles. Like I said in the first video, I lashed and whipped to the end. I know I had showed wrapping it around the top of the pole where it comes through. I didn't do that on this end, and I did on the other end, and found a weak spot. I did it on that end, and it pulled what little bit of wind we did have, pulled the grommet out. So note to self and anybody else who's using this setup, don't loop it up and over like that. Just leave it pulling off where you whipped it. But I can fix that. It didn't tear the hole out, it just pulled the grommet through, so I got a way to fix that. But overall, it held up to the rain very well. No water beating on the inside where it soaked through or anything like that. Like I said yesterday, only moisture I got under there was just what little bit blew in from the ends. So overall, it worked out great. A 8x10 would work better. This one's only 6x8, but for what it's for as an emergency shelter, it works great and doesn't take up a lot of room. So there we go. Rain test worked great, and we'll talk here in a little bit about some final thoughts on it. Okay, if you've watched to this point, you've seen the failure that I had, seen the results of it being up in some pretty torrential rain. Overall, I can't complain. I've got to say I am thoroughly impressed with the way it did, the way it held up. The one failure was my fault. As you saw in the video, if I hadn't have put the line up and over the top of the grommet, then probably would have never had an issue. The other end held up fine the way it was, and I didn't have any problems with it. But ultimately, do I think it is worth the money that I spent on it? Yes, I do. For what you're going to use it for 25 bucks, I do not think you'll find a canvas tarp out there anywhere in a 6x8 size for that amount of money that will do any better than it did. This has definitely got me wanting to go out and buy an 8x10 and see what I can do with it. But overall, I'm very pleased with it. I believe I've got that grommet that pulled out. I think I've got it fixed. I'll have to set it up again and see what happens. If not, I'll figure out some way to take care of that. But definitely well worth the $25 at Harbor Freight for one. So, hope you enjoyed the video. Like, share, subscribe. I'll get another one up for you soon.